Sai Ram students, welcome back. Today we are going to learn second chapter, History and the Concept of Time, revision part 2. Okay, now let's take a short recap what we have done in our previous session. We have learned division of time and the timeline, common era, Christian era, then time before the common and Christian era, measurement of time and methods of measuring time. Okay, and now we are going to start with historical periods. What is history? So history is a science that tells us about events that happened in the past. Okay, this means history is the study of past events. Okay, now the next, every bygone moment makes up the past. The past is the subject matter of history. This means the events that happened in the past, and that is history. Okay. Now the next, for example, in a broad sense, the period of history goes back to the time of birth of our solar system. Our solar system came into being about 4.5 billion years ago. This means, students, our solar system came into existence about 4.5 billion years ago. Okay. Now the next one we'll see our Earth. Our Earth is a planet in the solar system, so it is presumed that the Earth was also formed 4.5 billion years ago. Means our Earth, we can imagine that our Earth has came into existence 4.5 billion years ago. Okay. Now the next, the span of 4.5 billion years since the Earth's formation is a vast period of time. It is not easy to grasp this entire period all at once. This means, students, this time is too vast and it is not so easy to grasp or to hold this entire period at all once. Next, it is necessary to divide it into a number of stages in order to understand it better. Means we should divide it in different stages to understand it better. Now the next point, the time in history. The time in history is divided into two main periods. A. Prehistoric period. B. Historic period. Now this time is been divided into two main periods, which are the prehistoric period and historic period. Very good. Now the next, A. Prehistoric period. First one, prehistoric period simply means before history. What is prehistoric period? It means before history. Next, the prehistoric period is that period for which no written records are available to write its history. Means there were no written records available in those periods. That was prehistoric period. Now the next is historic period. The historic period is the one for which written records are available. By using the written records, we can write history. Means, students, in the historic period, there were written records were available, and by using these written records, we can write history. Now the next, see, this is the timeline of important events in the life of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. It is from 1630 AD to 1680 AD. So it was from the birth of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj till the death of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. 1630 was the birth, then 1645 Oath of Swaraj, 1666 escape from Agra, 1674 coronation, and 1680 the death. In the previous video of the lesson, I have explained you everything. Okay. Now the next is scientific methods of measuring time and establishing age, dating. We will see now scientific method of measuring time and establishing dating. First is the methods of measuring time enable us to identify a particular day, month or year with respect to an earlier day, month or year. Now, with the method of measuring time, it helps us to identify a particular day, means which day, which month or which year with respect to an earlier day, month or year. Okay. Now the next, for example, we will see if it is June, then we know that the earlier month was May. Means before June what comes? Which month comes? May. So before June is May. And the next month will be July. Means after June, which month will come? July. Okay. Now this is the next. If today is 23rd of June, means if today's date is 23rd June, then we can tell that tomorrow will be 24th of June. Okay. Means if today is 23rd, means tomorrow will be 24th. And yesterday means the day which we have already spent, that day was 22nd June. Very good. Thus, when we measure time, we actually measure its length. So, what we measure? We measure the length. Okay. Next, information about the events before the beginning of the common Christian era can be obtained with evidence buried under the ground. This means, students, the events before the beginning of the common era are mentioned as having occurred before the common era, and information about some of these events can only be obtained with the help of evidence buried under the ground. Okay. Now the next. With the help of scientific method, we can determine the approximate time of the event. Means, with the help of the broken man-made artifacts and fallen structures, we can determine the time of the events that took place thousands of years ago. Okay. And next, what is dating technique? Now we are going to see dating technique. Carbon-14 analysis and tree ring analysis methods are known as dating technique. What is dating technique? Carbon-14 analysis and tree ring analysis methods are known as dating techniques. Okay. Now the next, by using this dating technique, we learn how old the layers of soil and the remains found in them are. Then we can determine their period approximately. Means with this technique we can find the approximate period of the things. Now the next, for example, if an earthen pot is estimated to be 5000 years old, with the help of dating technique we can say that the earthen pot dates back roughly to 3000 BC. So then we can conclude that the period of the culture to which the pot belongs must be around 3000 BC. This means, students, this example tells us how the period is determined approximately. Okay. So students, what we have learned today? We have learned historical periods, scientific methods of measuring time and establishing age, dating. Very good. Next, activity. Fill in the blanks from the options given below. Students, here with the question you have been given 4 options and you are going to select the right option from the given below. Okay. So the first fill in the blank is dash is the period for which written records are available. A. historic period, B. geographic period, C. scientific period, D. mathematic period. So, what will be the answer? Yes, historic period is the period for which written records are available. Very good. Now the next. The span of 4.5 billion years since the dash formation is a vast period of time. A. Earths, B. Moons, C. Mercury's, D. Venus. So the answer will be Earth's. The span of 4.5 billion years since the Earth's formation is a vast period of time. Very good. So that's all for today's session. Sai Ram students. Thank you.